Hello and welcome. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. It's an Indian football and more discussion on this Monday, April 20th, 2026. Those of you who are usual regular viewers, welcome back. Those who are new, welcome to the channel. And at the start, as I like to say, if you like what you're seeing, what you're hearing, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, share it with other people to join in our conversations. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to Arun Foot. We stand at 4,214 subscribers to the channel. Thank you very much to all of you who have subscribed and also do watch the regular content which I'm putting out there. I did something yesterday, a short video on the topic of the AIFF versus ISL clubs, which is, of course, a lingering issue within Indian football. And, where is that journey going to potentially take us in the future? And that will be very interesting to see. And other things as well. So do join me that. And yes, I'm early today because sadly, because of other commitments, I won't be able to do a watch along of the game tonight, which is Punjab FC versus Interkashi. So to say, my former academy team of Round Glass Punjab versus Interkashi, owned by friends of mine. And therefore, due to commitments yesterday, I couldn't do Northeast versus Mohun Bagan as well. Of course, a match which is marred in a certain level of controversy because it was played in certain times where it wasn't just sort of, okay, the ground is wet, but there were puddles and other things. So the question to Crystal John would needed to have been, should you have stopped the game or not? Should you have rescheduled it maybe even for tonight? So all of these questions are there in the room, in my opinion, which are totally unanswered in regard to what is, what would, what is, what was, what should have been. The right decision in taking it forward. Of course, in the league table, Mohun Bagan winning takes them now to 20 points ahead of Mumbai City on 18. Goa have 16. All these teams have played 9 matches. East Bengal and Bangalore FC have 15, as well as Jamshedpur FC. East Bengal has played 8 matches, so they have got 1 in hand. Punjab FC, who are playing a little later against Interkashi, both of them are on 11 points, but Punjab have played 7, Interkashi have played 8. So if Punjab FC win tonight, maybe they can be part of that top group. Then we have Sporting Club Delhi, Chennai FC, as well as Kerala Blasters, all on 8, with Sporting Club Delhi and Chennai FC having played 8 matches, while the Blasters already on 10. Then we have Northeast United, 7 points from 9 games. Odisha FC have 6 from 7. And then bottom of the table, Mohammedan Sporting finally with their first point of the season, of the campaign, taking them to 1 point, better than nothing, but they are 5 points behind Odisha, 6 behind Northeast United, and 7 behind Kerala Blasters, Chennai FC, and Sporting Club Delhi. So therefore, that's normally a tough ask, but again, interesting matches coming up tomorrow. Chennai FC versus Mohammedan Sporting. That could be an interesting one to see what happens with the outcome. And the league getting into a very, very, very interesting phase in the Indian Super League at this moment in time, with all to play for at the top and the bottom, even though certain people are saying, Mohun Bagan finally back on top. Are they going to run away with the title? It will be interesting to see. It depends, I think, also to a certain extent in what Mumbai City can do in the coming weeks, what happens in the top clashes. What can Goa do? Could Goa be a surprise element in the title race? East Bengal could be, should be mentioned, because they have to play Mumbai City, they have to play Mohun Bagan. So therefore, there's a lot of that conversation as well going on in regard to the Indian Super League. So therefore, we will certainly be talking about those points as well at some stage, and seeing what happens in the ISL. Right. And once more, the reminder, if you're watching it afterwards, um, look at my thoughts of the AIFF versus ISL clubs in regard to confrontation. What do you think? What is right? What is wrong on that confrontational front? Let me know accordingly. And yeah, and that's going to be an interesting point, in my opinion. Again, where is this problem issue going or taking us in regard to the ISL season is or will end in about a month's time. And there's still no clarity in regard to commercial partner. There's no clarity in regard to how things are going to continue going forward. So therefore, there's a lot of questions in regard to the future of the Indian Super League. Also, reminder that I and Hiren did our second part of our football frenzy Monday summary of what has happened in the world of football, which where Hiren and I speak about things which are of interest, be it of course the ISL. We spoke about the title race in the Premier League in regard to Manchester City versus Arsenal, with City beating the Gunners yesterday 2-1 at home, 3 points behind Arsenal with one match less played. So looks like advantage City at the moment. They have 6 to play. Arsenal have 5 to play. We spoke about also about the Champions League, and that's something which is which is another reality. About the Champions League, and also the refereeing, and also this, oh, you know what, we've been robbed sort of scenario from Real Madrid and Barca, where I feel, especially Real Madrid, if you want to dissect the mistakes from the referee, I think the referee made more mistakes in regard to decisions which should have been in favor of Bayern Munich, than rather being in favor of Real Madrid. So it's to be in 9:45 p.m. How XMP, sadly, tonight I've got a dinner meeting, or rather an evening, a get together with some sport journalists, and there is some footballers coming here. So I'm there tomorrow. I'm going to watch handball. So there are certain things again. Um, as much as I love doing these live discussions, Indian football and more, or the watch-alongs, they're just a hobby. So I have to take time out of my busy schedule. And sadly, when my work schedule, so to say, has other appointments, I can't do them. So therefore, that's something where I have to be honest enough to you and to the others and say, guys, as much as I love them and I love to do them, very honestly, I can't, because I'm in a situation. So therefore, for me, I did it today at 5:30, much earlier than my usual. Yes, but I will leave. I can't even do a watch along of Interkashi against, or rather Punjab FC against Interkashi. Your views on Bajaj? What he's saying, that he's saying boys good trans. Let him say. XMP. I will repeat my point that I've made. Right. Um, that if Ranjit, with his team, wants to come to Germany, Ranjit, you have my number. Get in touch. Send me mail, and I'll help you. Right? That offer stands, and there's been no communication over the last 10 days. So therefore, I think that also answers your question to some extent. Good morning, Shwam. No, for me, it's not good morning. It's good afternoon. It's already 2:11 p.m. here in Germany. I don't know if you are in some part of the world, if not in India, that it's a good morning for you. Hope you're doing fine. Was talking a little about the Indian Super League, and things happening in there, and and how things are going or not going, rather. Interesting to see what happens. The I League, of course, is in a very interesting stage. Now with the league table being the way it is, some surprises, I would say, in regard to who is what. It looks like also, so therefore, for me, interesting is also that some people have now said that Churchill Brothers are relegated, right? Will Churchill Brothers accept that? So that will be an interesting one. It looks like Diamond Harbour FC favorites, 5 points ahead of Shillong Lajong, 5 points ahead of Rajasthan United, 7 ahead of Srinagar Deccan, and 11 in front of Chanmari. So therefore, for me, that's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens within the table, because and Very interesting to see what again what happens or what doesn't happen. So as it looks, the championship round or the promotion round features in the IFL Diamond Harbour FC, Shillong Lajong, Rajasthan United, Srinivake and Chanmari, as well as Dempo. So Dempo and Aizawl FC have the same number of points, but Dempo are in the top six with their 9 points. Aizawl have nine, Real Kashmir and Gokulam Kerala eight, Namdhari on seven. So that's an interesting one. So therefore, for me, that will be interesting to see what happens on that front. But yeah, it's an interesting table, and yeah, very interesting to see who gets relegated and who gets promoted. So therefore, some of these questions will be answered. Sir, do you know any club in I League 2 and League 3 from UP? Not that I League 2, there's certainly no teams from UP. From what I know. No, from my knowledge, 1 second before I tell you something wrong. I League 2, I League 3, wait, I League 2. I League 2, there's no UP team. I League 2 is Delhi FC, Sporting Club, the Goa, United Sports from Kolkata, Karbi Anglong, Morning Star from Assam, Sporting Club Bangalore, FC Bangalore United, GMSC from Mumbai, Sudeva Delhi from Delhi, and Neroka from Manipur. So those would be the teams that are, so to say, in the system. So, and in I League 3, 1 second, I League 3, who's in I League 3? No, I League 3 also, I don't think there is a UP team. Good evening for us, good morning. Yeah, no, it's not good morning for me, it's good afternoon as well. How do these coaches get licensed from? There is a licensing process, and you have your potential D, C, B, A, and Pro license, and you have to apply for the licenses. And so therefore you would have those, have those, and then you can apply for them, and from you can only move up from a D to a C, from a C to a B, B to A, and A to a Pro, but you have to fulfill certain criteria. I'm from India. I thought good morning. No, it is not Shom. Germany is three now. We've got summertime, so now in summertime we are 3.5 hours behind India. So for you, it is now 5:45 p.m. For us, it is 2:15 p.m. So we are 3.5 hours behind you. Diamond Hub has already confirmed Luca and some good foreigners. Yeah, they've signed Luca Machin and some others, some I League, ISL experienced players as well. And the question is, can they make it or not? It looks. I would say for them, it looks very, very good at the moment. If you look at them, where they stand, again with Kibu Vikuna, they have a very experienced coach who's won the I League in the past with Mohun Bagan in 2020, and he's won I League 3, I League 2. Now is where they are. And if I look at the players, I mean they've got Dheeraj Singh in goal, just to mention Bryce Miranda there, Paul Ramfang Zuawa in there, Shail Harijan has been, Holy Charan Nazari is in there, Joby Justin is captain, Melroy Azizi is in there, Pintu Mahato is in there, Samuel Amun Puya is there, Giri Khosla has played at a higher level, and of course to add on Luka Machin. So it's a good team. It's a good solid team, and therefore they are, because of that, they are where they are, and maybe they can win the I League and then get promoted to the Indian Super League. So that will be the interesting test for them. How Indian football fraud coach gets a big. See, the question is not how do they get it. The license is not. Um, it's a test. It's an exam, right? So therefore, for me, what you will call fraud coaches, or I would call some coaches who are not good enough to be in those positions. How to utilize it, and that's the problem of the system, right? That our system is not built in a way that there are cross checks and balances to say, hey, guys, how do we prove, and therefore for me, very, very important that we work on those things, and otherwise we're not going to move ahead, right? That's a big, big challenge for Indian football. What happened to Northeast United? I've seen Mohun Bagan super giant last night. I heard there's a fight happened in the ground. Kumar, I don't know if there's a fight happened. I don't know what you've heard. Um, there were the match was played on a ground after very heavy rain. So Guwahati got flooded yesterday. So the question was after the rain set in the first half, should the match have continued and should the match have finished? And friends of mine have told me very, very clearly. He said, you know what, the match should have never ever have been played till the end, and should have, it was stopped at halftime also because of the rain for a certain period of time. But it should never have gotten to that stage. So that's something that some people have told me now. And there is a situation where Juan Pedro Benali is very, very unhappy, charges at Crystal John. And let's put it this way, I understand the emotion, I understand you're angry. It could happen to me as well, I'll be honest about it. It's difficult to control yourself in that, but he's not helped his team because he picked up a red card. And, and the question can be asked, should have been the match continued, should have been, said, okay, listen, match cancelled, we play tomorrow again or something. I know the ISL schedule is very, very tight, but from the highlights that I've seen, I didn't watch the match live yesterday. I didn't do a watch along. There are a lot of questions that can be or need to be asked about why this match was played in the way it was played. So therefore, that's a challenge, and for me, it's a big problem. It was a big problem. Is a big problem. Yeah. So what to say? So Ashley Wester should be national coach after Khalid Jamil. X9P. Let's not bother about who will be the next national team coach after Khalid Jamil. Khalid Jamil at the moment is in. Khalid Jamil is in that position, and I don't see any changes coming up at this moment in time. And if that happens, yeah, then we can think about it. If Ashley Westwood or if XYZ other coach could be a potential replacement. Crystal John is biggest fraud. How do you know that, XNMP? I mean, my question to you is, how do you call him a fraud? Right? So this is the problem, and uh, um, and so therefore for me, that's yeah. Again, there are decisions, yeah, which have been sadly questionable, that which raise questions about the refereeing. But how do you say call him a fraud? I don't get that. And again, that's the point. Again, Lord Crystal John. Yeah, again, I don't even know what's the are you in a position to have said, as long as you can, please play it through, because this is a discussion we've had in the past, that you have had issues and matches had to be played. Khalid's still not attending matches. Where is he? Raj, good question. Maybe a question to ask on Twitter. Where is Khalid? Why are you not attending matches? I don't know. Maybe at home in Mumbai or somewhere else, but he's not in the grounds, right? So that's the thing, and yeah. So therefore, um, for me, it's a good question, and yeah, that's something which, as I say, I don't have an answer for you. Crystal John plus Bangalore party. X9P, that decision against the Blasters and in favor of Sunil Shetty regarding the free kick has been proven right. That is right. And I've always said this. And I got a lot of hate from that for Kerala Blasters fans. You know, and yeah, that's the, you know, um, so therefore, makes no sense, even if you want to construct it. Khalid goes underground. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he goes underground. Maybe, I don't know where he is or what he's doing. Allegations again, why women game favors by Crystal East Bengal furious. Raj, East Bengal are furious. Again, sorry, East Bengal fans, bother about your own teams. And when your team is getting advantages, for once at least call it out. At least for once call it out. Right? You've had X number of advantages this season given in your favor, and none of you have, penalties which weren't this and that, everything. So what are we talking about? Right? So therefore, for me, it makes no sense to point. Listen, our referees are not good enough, right? That's a reality. If you, but again, watch Football Frenzy between Hiren and me, where I speak about it. If you, as Indian football fans, think that tomorrow VR will come and solve our issues, our discussions move to VR. It's happening in Europe. You're having the issues of um, what is happening. It's happening that Champions League, Real Madrid, right? So um, Real Madrid against Bayern Munich is mourning. Where I say, guys, you do understand that you were there were so many injustices against Bayern Munich that is to me rather the question than anything else, right? So therefore, um, for me, uh, that's the problem that we face now. So therefore, for me, the big problem is are we asking the right questions? Are we looking at it? And therefore, for me, yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. Why I was done yesterday? What? Aman, most probably should have stopped the game altogether. I think that was the you know West Joker. They have good chance to win ISL, but they choked. Everyone knows one was not performing. Explain P. Are they not performing? Didn't Robson Rubinho score yesterday? Didn't the other day Jason Cummings score? Didn't McLaren score? Where are they not performing? Mohnbagan are top. If I like it or not, Mohnbagan are top of the league, right? So either we start living all in reality, you know, and or not. Hi, Kerala Blasters C fans from Malappuram. Good to see you back. One of the biggest fan base, the Blasters will not get investor. Hyderabad got investor. Why can't Blasters? Who said Hyderabad got an investor? In the sense of, you know, um, the investor logic of, oh, you know what, because you have a fan base, you're going to get investor. I don't know if that works in Indian football. From an investor perspective, there are teams which are more, let's put it this way. If I want to, from football perspective, for example, Northeast should be a very interesting investment to me, right? And John Abraham has been trying to get investment into his team for the last 10 years. No one's come forward, right? Um, Hyderabad nearly went bankrupt. Varun tried everything. And luckily, BS Jindal came around and took over and now pushed the team to Delhi. But they came around. Otherwise, Hyderabad, if BS Jindal last season hadn't come, there would not be Hyderabad FC this season, right? Um, the Magnum discussion at the Blasters, yeah, Magnum out is nice. But okay, Magnum out. What is the outcome of Magnum out? So to me, it is not so easy to say, oh, you know what, investment out. I, for example, give credit, for example, to Bimal Parekh and Ranbir Kapoor, who are the original investors of Mumbai City FC after City Football Group walked out, that they said, okay, we'll reduce budgets, but we'll run the team. I give Bimal and RK a lot of credit for that. Right? They could have said, you know what? Even Odisha kept it. And um, the Blasters are in a situation is, yes, there's been a lot of talk, and this guy will come in, that will guy come in, and I will buy into it. Where are those people? Magnum has handled things badly, yeah, 100%. And if I see some of the stuff that's come out in the last few days, it's very, very interesting that we've been speaking always about Abik. No one is talking about Carolus, who's been calmly, quietly, you know, you know, Hey Roshan, you were playing ground yesterday in Guwahati. Roshan, I don't think it should have been restarted, to be very, very honest. But again, that's my opinion. I think schedule here, schedule there. I think the match should have been rescheduled in a way that the match would have been played today in the afternoon. Worst case, maybe we even played now, right? Because it was not good yesterday. Would be good if Kerala was handled by Kerala government. I mean, Kerala government will not invest into Kerala Blasters. I don't know where you get that idea from. Why would the Kerala government invest also? The Kerala government doesn't have money to say, oh, listen, you know what, I'm spending, I don't know, XYZ crores on a football team. Doesn't work that way, right? Means last year's Duran Cup. Mm, yeah. Situation got it was worst. It was pool injuries, bro. Raj, yeah, it was sometimes more of a swimming pool, but again, you and I don't know what kind of pressures in the background there was from the AIFF um, to get the match done. Maka is the best striker now. So yeah, most probably is football pool yesterday. Yes, X9P. Especially Mizoram should be on field for West. Roshan, it's not happening. Right. Again, Mizoram is doing a lot of things right that others are not even doing or trying to do right. Right. Be it implementing grassroots, implementing youth football, implementing measures to eradicate age fraud, which is I know no other state which is trying to do that in that way, right? They are a role model in that. But investment into investments, or if we talk, even when I talk to German clubs to do stuff in India on a football front, where do they want to go? They want to go to a Delhi, they want to go to a Mumbai, maybe to a Bangalore. They don't want to go to a Kolkata, they don't want to go to a Kerala. Forget the Northeast, right? That's the reality. A proper structure, and if we're doing right things, probably with right intention. Exactly. Roshan, right things, right intentions, right people, right? We speak about Tetamar, but it's him and all the people around who've done so much of right in the Mizoram sporting ecosystem, right? And that is what has enabled Mizoram to do. And that's the reality. So therefore, for me, um, yeah, Mizoram is my favorite model. So, Canada will need to do for football fans more. They get fraud by Argentina. Promise will bring Argentina team rather than they build a good stadium, good academy. X9P, do not mix up those two things. Good academy from government side, given the size and the way Kerala government runs, it is not Odisha. It is not Mizoram. It is not even Meghalaya, right? Sadly, as it has to be said. So therefore, good stadium, yeah, that's a discussion. But stadium discussion has never happened, right? Yes, they have developed it in Manjeri, the stadium, that has to be said, in Malappuram, but otherwise, right? Trivandrum is a privately built stadium. And Kochi, why don't they build a proper 40, 50,000 seater stadium in Kochi? That would be the need of the hour. Very, very right. But the Argentina thing is a lot of people involved wrong. Yeah. Why Northeast people passionate about football? Why Northeast was Asian class football? Leave World Wrestling in case can have so much passion. Why there no Asian class player? XRP, Northeast are producing the best Indian footballers, right? Asian class, yeah. I mean, our system is not geared up. I watch my episode of Football Frenzy with Hiren where I talk about. I looked at the exposure of the RFDL, right? And the four semi-finalists played 23 matches. The 12 teams which got into the national stage got 20 matches. Those who got into the inter zonal phase got 10 matches. And the others got 5 matches. How are you going to develop? So that's the problem. No? We are not having enough matches at youth level. Who's responsible for continuing? Guess it is match referee or match commissioner? Roshan, the first choice is match referee. The match referee can consult his other officials. But theoretically, also the match commissioner can step in. But again, he didn't. The stadium is filled by Blasters fans. Unlike Northeast Stadium is partially filled, so they couldn't get an investor. Raj, it has no logic. right? If let's say Mumbai City gets onto the market, right? Being in Mumbai, smallest stadium in the league, low number of fans turning up, um, but it's Mumbai, so most probably they would find someone if they wanted to, which you are not finding elsewhere. So it is not about fans, about how many, what this, that, everything. These, the general logic which you would have in a football country, India is different, right? Hi, so we're going to host the Olympics. Do you see the snippet I sent a few minutes ago? Yes, Ochud, I saw that snippet. And just to tell you, Ochud sent me a snippet that Indian media is reporting that India has been moved to the highest risk category A bracket for doping after consistently recording the most violations globally, forcing the World Athletics Body, Athletics Integrity Unit to impose stringent new testing protocols. So Indian athletics have the highest number of positive doping cases. Yeah. And that is something which is, yeah, what to say. And Ochud, again, there are so many things that need to be sorted before we should talk about the Olympics. That's the thing. The circus is going with us, just doing with red cards, referees. Yeah, but Raj, this is a circus, the so-called whatever you're calling circus and the AIFF. It's been a problem for a while. No? It's not a new problem which has cropped up last week. The referees problem has been there, right? And again, let's not go into the discussion in regard to referees because people will tell you. I was watching in the morning a podcast with Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and Micah Richards, right? Which are like the rest is football. And they were talking about yesterday. And they were trying to explain to me, oh, because the match was so important and this and that, Gabriel didn't get a red card against Holland. I was like, is that the new logic? Again, we're talking about the English Premier League. We're talking about the English Premier League. We're not talking about the Indian Super League or Indian Football League or some local football game. We're talking about the EPL where even former players, world-class players are trying to justify a red card not being given because of the importance of the game. And the best I've seen someone writing under that video is like, hey, so does that mean that 20 years ago when Zidane headbutted Materazzi, importance of the game, hey, it's the World Cup final, don't give him a red card? So we do not need to go into this just in Indian football. It is a global football phenomenon at the moment that referees are a problem. And VR has not solved the problem. VR has certain decisions are now no longer being discussed because if a video clearly shows it, done, right? Penalty, there's that, everything, most of it. But handball, for example, huge discussion, right? Red cards, discussion, right? So therefore, the question is, and now is coming the crunch time of the season. Are the mistakes going more? You know, so therefore, it's something that needs to be remembered, right? That it is not not just an Indian problem; it's a global problem. Look at Real Madrid talking about that Kamavinga red card. Listen, why? Why don't you say that? Listen, the player, the foul, the second foul, no, we don't need to discuss it. But then pushing the ball, not doing, keeping it free. Huh? Why are we not talking about the goals that Real Madrid scored? The two of them don't stand, right? The 2-1 and the 3-2 actually don't stand. So again, as much as you as Indian football fans or we as Indian football fans discuss these referee decisions, we could go on discussing things in the Premier League and La Liga and Bundesliga or Champions League. We'll have those discussions in the World Cup as well. Yeah, because there is on one side there's bigger scrutiny on things. Football, in my opinion, has become faster and yeah, very difficult. Saw some AIFF election committee meeting today. What is it all about? Uchut, the elections are going to happen later this year, and the AIFF is trying to constitute the necessary bodies as per the guidance of the Supreme Court of India to be ready whenever those things are. Meghalaya government give money to Lajong. Yes, 3 crores, Raj, which is good, which helped Lajong to sort of play and stay afloat. So that's important that support is there. And yeah, mm, the Meghalaya government is trying to do a lot of things at the moment in regard to football, and that's good. Not good. That's great to see. It's really really great to see. And yeah, let's see what happens on that front. Is Odisha government Odisha under BJP is supporting Odisha? Is just asking. Uh, in some sort of way, sure, because they've got access. I don't know what the deal is at the moment, so X9P, I can't really tell you much about it. We'll do live for international night. No, Aman, no Punjab FC versus Interkashi live. Therefore, I'm doing this live early on because I'm going to leave a little later. And so I did this live, thought I'll do a little earlier. It's also important to see that other part that doping cases are being caught, whereas in football, age fraud is not being caught. Raj, don't put that into the same bracket because global, again, we were talking about top level Indian athletes at the global stage. And the problem is a lot of these Indian athletes have gotten to the level that they've gotten to. It's like with H Rod, because in India, they're the national anti-doping agency is not, or NADA is not as strong as WADA. Then whenever they go to the international stage, then these doping cases come out, and it's embarrassing, right? And it's not a one sport issue or problem. It's a multi-sport problem, right? From an Indian context. But I know sometimes football experts justify referee decision based on the level the referee whistles during the game. Yeah, but again, this Roshan for me is, um, what I've learned in the last 7 days. If I look at, you know, um, some of these discussions at Champions League level or Bundesliga, Premier League level or whatever, um, you know, decisions cannot. So the first global rule is there can be no, um, you know, um, no decisions can go against Real Madrid. That's the perception that Real Madrid has created, right? In the English Premier League now, they're discussing, saying, "Oh, you know what? Depending on the match, you should give a card here or not." They're that far, right? Which I find very dangerous. So I don't know. Yeah. Will India get banned like Russia? Aman, India and Russia have no. Again, if the doping issues continue, and India is talking about hosting the Olympics, yeah, it could become an issue. Talking in international, yeah, Roshan, I fully understood that, yeah. The KBCFC fans say, friends, we too have had many issues with the Karavas FC management. There have been several strikes as well. But for us, there's always been only one team, and that is Karavas FC. See, and that is what I'm saying. KFC fans, Malappuram, to me, that's the most important thing. You have one team, and that team is the Blasters. You know? Um, you know? Um, so therefore, for me, that is something which I felt is criticize your management, speak about it, but don't turn your back on the team. And um, the sad part is what I see now is that you've given, not you, but those of you who have gone, and yeah, so um, an opportunity to speak about things in a way which is not good, right? Question the management and question those who have um, done wrong. But my point also on this matter is, what's the agenda of certain people to criticize certain things and do it now? That's also a question at multiple levels. If I were a club manager or player, I would abuse others, and if I got a red card, I would be assured red card will be overturned. That circus. Raj, not every red card is being turned around, right? There are red cards which have been turned around for valid reasons, right? And sometimes some red cards this way, some red cards that way. Again, it's the problem is that there is a disciplinary committee, uh, and I don't know. But some decisions are weird. Some decisions make sense. You know, I still haven't understood why the Brian Sanchez red card was overturned, right? And he was able to play against East Bengal a few days back, while Matthias Hernandez suddenly got a red card. That one, for example, doesn't make sense. If I want to do it properly, okay, Brian Sanchez red card becomes yellow. I think that's fair. Matthias Hernandez's yellow card stays, right? So yeah, Abhig brought his relatives into the Kerala Blasters, who are now mocking fans of Blasters more furious about now. Yeah, not smart from the media people, media department at the Blasters to put out those things. Totally agree on that. But yeah, um, it's it's uh, it's a very difficult decision to all of this, and I think there needs to be structural changes of the Blasters, otherwise this cannot be sorted. This has gone to a level where it's within the club. I think you need structural changes. The question is, um, what do the owners want? What do the owners say? I haven't heard anything on that front. Now, is this news true that we're not going to the Asian Games as due to Hong Kong for a proactive approach? As the semi-finals in last Asian Games, they got green flag. Semi, from what I knew, um, that we were, I guess, honestly, not really in the running for the Asian Games. That is something that I think a lot of people are telling us. And the second question it's not the question of if the AFC and the Asian Games Organizing Committee allows, or if the government of India actually wants to send the men's team. As far as I know, I don't think the men's team are actually in the running, and that would have been sort of last minute begging again from the AIFF, say, please send us. I think that was the reality. So, and to me, the Asian Games, sorry, is the most unimportant tournament for us, right? Even other countries are sending under 21s or under 20s to that tournament, right? And we are trying to send under 23s and three overage players. What's the long term value in playing this? That's the problem. Salcarasa sequence, we will get out Magnum. If club shut down, it's okay. We don't want Blasters. We'll get any other club formed. Um, who's going to form that other club? Again, someone needs to then explain me this thought process. I'm not getting. I don't know if I'm missing a point over here. I don't get the thought process saying, okay, Magnum out. Yeah, very valid. You can say that. My question again is, who's going to take over the shares, right? And if Magnum leaves or says no one's buying it, we're shutting it down, and it's gone. But who are you going to support? Gokulam Kerala at the moment is fighting against relegation from the IFL. I don't see another team of that magnitude in Kerala. Yeah. So that's the, I don't know. It's as I said, then there needs to be changes. Whole if the Blasters stay on, I think in the summer they need to make some drastic changes, bring in the right people, and there need to be a lot of honest conversations about things within the club, I guess. Cameron has overstayed his time at Kavasasi. Yeah, Roshan. And, you know, I don't know uh, what's the contribution to this jumbled up Khichdiwala team that the Blasters have, right? Is it his team? Is it Abhig's team? Is it their team? Was it Katala's team? Because you know, yeah, did make sense. How is getting mashed? Carlos is smartly out of situation. Yeah, Rajan, that's an interesting one. And if you see what I saw now, the um, that Jessel Canero has actually gone in for a video bashing of Carolis and actually come out in support of Abhik, which is very interesting to see. It's a free fall. That is to me the biggest problem at the Blasters. It's a free for all. Everyone, I can bash you, you can bash then it's chaos, right? And that club, I still say, uh, the success story actually of the ISL, and it needs the right management, the right people. You have to bring work with the fans and get their trust again, and then build something. That is still possible with the Kerala Blasters. Cuz blaming F for ruining any football. Yeah, but again, it's as I say, someone who blames the AFF, anyone who's blaming the AFF for what is happening in football is not looking at himself or herself and is doing the introspection and saying, "Hey, am I doing the right things or not?" That is to me the biggest problem that we face at this moment in time is that no one is saying, "Oh, you know what? I have done something wrong." You're not. How do you think Mohanbag Subhajan was should have been called off or not? Yes. Do I think it should have been cancelled? At some stage, I mean, you know, I don't know if you wanted to um, play in a pond or something and say, "Hey, listen, just ensure that you don't play the ball here, you don't play the ball there." I think it should have been called off, and that was the wrong call in my opinion from Crystal John, that he didn't say, "You know what, I am uh, deciding to I'm trying to trying to ensure the safety of the players." I think that's the first question that needs to arise out of this, and that was not done by the match officials. I think it was too dangerous. In my opinion, it was too dangerous in those conditions to play. If you see, also, I've seen some of the some clippings of videos of what the situation was in Guwahati yesterday. And then one day, Kerala SSC ISL Cup. You know what, KBFC fans, Malappuram, I wish you that. I wish all the Kerala Blasters fans that one day KBFC wins the ISL, because um, that would be good. You know, uh, um, it would be good for the club. It would be good for Kerala football. It would be good for Indian football, right? So, if you ask me, that would be my thinking in regard to sort of the Blasters um, getting something out of this. Do you give Crystal John benefit of doubt as lack of experience or not acceptable? Um, listen, Crystal John is not a young ref, right? I mean, even if you're a young ref, this call is a big one, and if you can't make this call, then you're wrong for the job. Sorry. So for me, not acceptable. He has to make a call, and it's a tough call. No doubt about it. It's a difficult call. You have to make a call. Worst case, get the match commissioner involved and then make the call. But make a call and decide what is in the best interest of the game, of the players, of the spectators, of everyone in the stadium. And if you've got such a situation with such heavy rain, I doubt that you should have continued the match. That would be yeah, my thinking process, so to say. Um, yeah, my process, my thinking process is clearly that that should have been the best. Mm, he didn't take that call, so that's the problem. Right, 50 minutes now in this live on this Monday, late afternoon India, early afternoon here in Germany. Indian football and more, the discussion. If you haven't, do like, do share, do subscribe to Arunfoot. And we stand at well, 7 likes so far. I think we can do better, guys. And if you haven't, Football Frenzy episode 2 between Hira and myself is out. And do watch that as well. I did something on yesterday in regard to AIFF versus ISL clubs. Is that something? I've linked that video here. in the chat. Have a look at it, and we still stand at 4,214 subscriptions. Thank you very, very much, everyone who've joined the family. We've grown quite a bit over the last few weeks, so thank you very much for joining the Arun Foot family. So therefore, thank you as always, and yeah, we are here. Hopefully, the most honest community to discuss Indian football. I think we have that nowhere else. The refereeing this season is so weird. Red cards for questionable incidents, then red to yellow, yellow to red. This is hurting the league. Yeah, Blue. We've been having this thing again and again over the last few years, and it's especially evident this year that a lot of decisions have gone in a way where you think, okay, how did this decision come about? And I don't know how we're going to get out of this sort of weird window of decision making that we're currently having in Indian football, because um, what I feel the AIFF is doing very badly is communicating to the outside world, because they're not communicating. If I'm making a change to a decision, which can happen, right? I don't disagree that XYZ could be different, right? And if the disciplinary committee decides, yeah, this that, okay, fine, right? For example, the Brian Sanchez incidents, to me, yeah, but um, makes sense to overturn it. Why does Matthias Hernandez get a red card suddenly? Makes no sense, right? The Valpuya red card turned around. Has any action been taken against the guys at um, uh, Intakashi for the supposed racist comments for which Valpuya really went bonkers? I haven't seen anything. So therefore, yeah, Blue, very right. And they have and again, it just shows you that the AFF is in no position to actually macro and micromanage this league. It's just this season is just proving it, right? And I do see, if I watch, the live watch alongs, the video edits, because I come from a media background, right? Not only just a commentator, but a production based side as well. Then to me, it's a big problem, because I see too many things where I say, okay, this is a problem, that is a problem. By the way, Arsenal bottle again. I'll just get up once. I'll keep on talking. Blue, what to say? This year, later than in the last few years, it seems like Arsenal have set to bottle it, and City got a grip of itself later than in usual. I mean, that Ryan Shirky goal yesterday was, Ryan Shirky. Wow, that's, yeah. What did I call it? That is real street football cred, huh? And so, therefore, for me, yeah, City 6 matches to go, Arsenal 5 matches to go. Yeah, and if City win their next match just by 2 goals, they'll be ahead on goal difference. I don't even know if Arsenal is going to win the rest of their 5 games. I honestly don't know, because I think they've lost now four of the last 6 matches, right? They just against Sporting, they drew and they won a game. So therefore, for me, that's a big problem, right? To me, that's a big challenge, and there's been no solution to that. And I don't know, Arteta's team suddenly. If you look at earlier this season, Arsenal were one of the best teams in Europe. Look at the way they beat Bayern Munich at home at the Emirates, and look at them now, right? They're lucky that they don't have to face Bayern Munich, because that would have been a battering. 5-1. I don't know. Bayern Munich's form at the moment is such a way. Bayern could score 10 against Arsenal. Arsenal is that bad suddenly. So I don't know. Interesting to see. And also, of course, seeing that, Mark Gehi settling in. Very happy about Kusanov, and an Uzbek centre back settling in the Premier League. And he needed time. He didn't settle in well. Had his problems, and seeing him now, it's quite impressive. Quite impressive, to say the least, about Kusanov. And yeah, Arsenal bottling it. I don't know. I would have never thought that we would go down that path. I hope that Shillong Latang will win this season's I League. Let's see. Aman, looks like to me that Diamond Harbour FC could be the champions of the first ever IFL. They look to be an advantage, and yeah, let's see what happens in the IFL. Again, a lot to be played for, but yeah. As from next season, commercial partner will have rights of both ISL and Federation slash Super Cup. So being overly optimistic, can we expect Federation of running parallel like Premier League and FA Cup in England? Sammy, um, there are there is one thought process problem in this um, whole uh, let the ISL and the Fed Cup be held in parallel, like again any top level uh, or forget top tier, top tiers of football and the national cup. Here it's a question of money, and um, the commercial partner thing is not sorted, right? Because it's very very clear the AIFF won Genius Sports, while on the other side, the clubs seem to be favoring fan code, right? So therefore, lack of clarity on those things. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, right? So I'm not clear what's going to happen in the next few weeks, but yeah, let's wait and see what happens. Critics, why always Christians sign for one game? That's actually a good question. I don't know. I don't know how the AFF has never explained how they do these assignments, but yes, it is interesting in a way to see that um, uh, Crystal John has now been what, two in a row. Right? He was there last weekend against Punjab, and then yesterday against Northeast. Yeah. How many round robins in IFL? IFL has deep. Top six, they'll play five match. No, sorry. What was the format that they decided on? What was the format that they decided on? 1 second. Uh, 1 second. Where did I? So for me, as I see it, there will be another whole double header for the top six and a one round for the bottom four. That was my understanding. I don't know if they changed it by now. Yeah, Kusan was the best success ever. Was ruling him out. Blue, sometimes players need time, right? It is Kusanov, it is others as well. Yeah, that's the thing. By the way, your view on Miguel three-match ban, I had the news, so don't know if it's true. Blue, if it's true, then it's not enough. If he's getting banned for 3 matches, um, it's not good enough because if I see the way he fired that ball towards the BFC bench, 3 is not enough. Yeah, and but again, I think there were a few red cards that the referee could have handed out at both ends, at BFC and at East Bengal, which didn't happen and which doesn't happen. Yeah, we are in that situation where we are in, right? So therefore, for me, if I expect referees to take a decision and take a tough decision, then that doesn't happen, right? That's a reality, right, in Indian football. So for me, that's something which is sadly the way it is, where the referee doesn't take the call in the way that he should, and yeah, so that's how it is, right? So yeah, welcome to Indian football. Welcome to Indian football, um, which is going to be yeah very difficult to rectify, you know, and yeah, to me, I don't know, and honestly, um, yeah, I don't know. Welcome to Indian football, I would say on that front, huh? Do you know why Renner is being settled for going back to VC reserves team of being replacing net coach? Feels sad for him. Roshan, he was reserve team coach before he was pushed up, and assistant coach of the first team before he was pushed up to being first team coach. And Renard is loyal to his team, and yeah, and that's why he coached the reserve team to the RFDL title. So huge respect from my side for that. So it's like the K League, K1 League. No. Why we are not going to Asian Games, Vilianta? It looks like that. Again, the first question: were we going to the Asian Games? I think that prerogative needs to be asked. Was the government of India willing to send us? I don't think. I don't know. I'm not clear. Uh, you know. You know. You know. Um, so yeah, position of Miguel for red card is okay, but after the action of kicking the ball towards BCW is not acceptable. Fans need to understand there's a thin line. We don't cross it, but my fellow East Bengal fans are just as fans. This reason, like, what we could do. Are we still in that era of violence in Bengal football? Raj, it is very, very poor. And I said it during the live. The way that Miguel went. Sorry, I didn't do a live. Sorry, I did a live up to that point. Sorry, I had to stop it a little later. So when you see the way that Miguel went in, and the game had stopped, it's violent conduct. And violent conduct can be given a red card. And it wasn't the first time that the guy did it. And he's been getting away with it. Right? And I go back to my topic of certain Brazilians championing being these kind of characters in football. Favorite example, Vinny Jr. When injustice is done to Vinny Jr., it's the worst thing in the world. That he is a cheat, an unfair player, and all that kind of stuff. That is forgotten. Miguel Ferreira this season, in my opinion, is one of the best footballers in the ISL. But his behavior sometimes is amongst the worst. Period. If you tell that to an East Bengal fan, they will not accept it. That is the problem of our Indian Super League at the moment. That we're not willing to talk about the problems, issues that our players are causing. Right? Miguel Ferreira should play football. Showcase your football. Because you're that good. Why did you have to go there to Ashik and shoot the ball between his legs? So that's that is the question of some. And the second one against the BFC dugout, if he's got a 3-match ban, is he getting a 3-match plus X? Because that ball shooting towards the dugout in itself, in my opinion, should be another extra fine. In 2019, Manjapara opposed the boycott but later supported it for fans. Now they started one themselves. Pressure again or their own call. I don't know. Even figures is against it. Thoughts? Ajay, I've said, boycott is never an answer. Anywhere in the football world, a boycott is never an answer. I've always said, if you look at my old videos, when people called for an Indian football boycott, I always called it out because it makes, in my opinion, no sense. It has no value. It has no impact. Right? So therefore, that's the reality. So to me, if I'm not willing to do what is necessary, then nothing will happen. Then that what needs to happen will not happen. No? CK Vineet is very, very right. And CK Vineet also told the story that he wanted to stay and then the management sold him. Yeah. Again, sad for CK. Great guy, great character, great footballer. But if the club thinks, your time is up, you have to go, then you have to go. Think about, and there have been bigger players, right? I always say Bastian Schweinsteiger didn't want to leave Bayern Munich, but Pep Guardiola at some stage said, my friend, you're not going to play much. And then he went to United, went to Man United, and then to the MLS. So that is the other part, is again, that footballers also sometimes glorify themselves, make themselves martyrs. So that's the reality. Also fed up with East Bengal referee issue. Like, you're right to protest those, but they made the whole identity about this. I feel like some shadow force is stopping them. Blue, the fun part is, wasn't Reliance against East Bengal? Wasn't Mr. Goenka against East Bengal? Didn't East Bengal go for AIFF in a situation where they opposed the other clubs? So that same body that you went for is now against you? There is no logic. There is no logic in these points that the East Bengal fans are sadly raising. Right? To me, that is the biggest problem. Right? The East Bengal fan base is so desperate for the success of the team to win the ISL that they'll do anything to win it. Right? So therefore, sad, because the behavior of the East Bengal fans is not up to the mark of a club of the stature of East Bengal club. Forget football club or East Bengal SC or Quest East Bengal, whatever, or Kingfisher East Bengal. East Bengal club as an entity, it's not worth it. That is the sad part. But are you questioning your club? Are you questioning your the management, the owners, the people at the club? Are you questioning Oscar with some crazy comments? So for me, and this is something, and therefore there are means and ways of doing this. As I say, same thing applies for the Blasters. Boycott is not an answer. Diamond Harvest is very impressive in second division, by the way. Blue, they've 22 points and Kibu Vicuna, right? So that shows you that you can be successful. I said this is the most brutal thing that you say, that the players' quality and basics worse in every club's of in players, so the fans are the first to want to save their players. Yes, exactly. That's another added point, right? Very, very good point. If you criticize a player from a certain club and say, hey, listen, this guy is not good enough, that guy's not good. And I say this about the under 23s, right? When we're talking about those players, they're not as good as we would like. I would be the first one to be happy if a player is better, right? If a Rinzwala proves me wrong and is able to play better and become a national team striker, I would be very, very happy, right? Or Joseph Sani, those kind of boys. But will they make it? No. Yeah. And that's the reality. The last real talent to come through our system was a decade back, a certain Lalinzwala Chante. The last real big talent. The rest is hype. Yeah. The ISL races on snakes and ladders. Yeah. Uchul, sadly, uh, Mumbai City with a very bad performance in Goa. And then unlucky moment to concede that late equalizer against Jamshedpur. But yeah, it's with the team Mumbai City have, honestly, we've already outperformed any expectations that I think most of the people had. They already have 18 points on the table. So yeah, it's that. But when you are this close, I think I say this, and I think others who are Mumbai City FC fans will second that. And then you want your club to go the last mile and try to get something out of it. My feeling, Diamond Harbour FC might be promoted while Moment Sporting may be relegated. Ochut, the might and may, I think you can move. I think Diamond Harbour are very, 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 very likely to win the IFL, and Moment Sporting will likely finish as last. I am willing to see. Yesterday, for the first time, Kalyan Chaul was asked the question, Acha, if Moment Sporting finishes last, sir, because of the shortened season, will Moment Sporting be relegated? He was asked by Kolkata journalists that, and Kalyan Chaul said, no, Supreme Court said this, no, Supreme Court this, not everything. But that discussion will happen. If Moment Sporting finish last, there'll be pressure on the AIFF to keep them in the ISL. Let's see what happens with that one. That's another one. That's another things happening. Haven't watched a video about clubs sending a letter to AIFF. Does this mean the tender process is in a limbo? Uchu, to some extent, yes. Because watch the video. I tell everybody, because I've tried to dissect, you know, um, the issues in this matter. And I look at it from a perspective of saying, guys, you know what? We need solutions, right? We need solutions. And you as clubs have to step up in your own interest. Because you are spending the money. That's the way you are now saying to them, is it, you know what, actually, you're taking decisions because you run the league, but actually we are paying for it. So this is a realization where I say, like, oh guys, you've now realized what the problem is, right? So where do you, how do you solve it? That is to me the challenge with, you know, this whole AIFF and clubs thing. The clubs have missed a chance of appointing the right person as league commissioner. And I say this again and again and again. It didn't have to be me, but I still think that would have been your best option, because then you would have had a person who would have looked at the interest of the league, which might sometimes be in against the interest of the AFF, and which sometimes might be against the interest of an individual club. That is, you know, that is the interesting part. That the clubs still haven't understood that if you want to be working together on this, which you can't because you've got 14 different entities having 14 different interests, you need someone in the middle who is actually going to mediate that and is going to take the interest of the league forward. And therefore, yes, Ochu, to me, at the moment, we are heading for the same situation that we had last season, or sorry, this season, which might now happen earlier. But again, do we know that all the 14 clubs will play next season? I don't know, right? What's the reason that Cambodian clubs are doing so good lately in Asian Tier 2 competitors in clubs? Mohun Bagan, a bigger purse still doing and pulling back. Sammy, not tier two. Cambodian clubs are doing rather good in tier three. Let's rectify that. Why Mohun Bagan? Mohun Bagan is at Asian level a good phenomenon which I can't explain to you. They've never done well. Unlike East Bengal, Mohun Bagan has never actually done really well in the Asian level, right? So they've had some heavy, embarrassing defeats over the years. Why are doing Cambodian clubs? Cambodian clubs are also dependent on the foreigners that they're able to get, right? So Cambodian football seems to be growing a little bit here and there. Now, sir, if you complain about players' quality and players basing after, these fans will come and save their players as these question their clubs for the players' quality and how to increase it. Listen, and this has happened, right? Hiren has questioned the quality after watching a little bit of the RFDL final, and I said to Hiren, I said, and we talk about it in our latest podcast, and I say, listen, this is we are at a level which, if we like it or not, then we have a quality issue in Indian football. We have a massive quality issue, but who's going to address it? We have problem at grassroots and youth football. This is supposed to be the best, right? You had BFC, FC Goa, Blasters, Punjab FC. Amongst the best, you know, um, in the youth level. But if that's the best talent you're going to be able to produce, then we have a problem. Coming from East Bengal, if I say Miguel, I'm suddenly declared more. Yeah, Rajan, that's again, welcome to my club, right? I mean, Ochut and I are family, so he knows that family wise, I actually support East Bengal, right? But I have set up Mumbai City FC. I've worked in setting up the Academy of Roundglass Punjab. My relationship to those clubs is closer because I've been involved in setting those entities up, right? But my inner self would never support Mohun Bagan. No, because for that I'm red and gold. But East Bengal fans think that, what was it? I got money from Reliance, I got money from Mr. Goenka, I got this. Listen, and this shows you that these people live, in what world they live in. They don't live in reality. And they don't understand football. That's the other thing, right? When I last season questioned, and I was sitting there in front of me, Mumbai City Football Club versus East Bengal at the Mumbai Football Arena, Nanda Kumar Shekhar with a nice handball in the penalty box, penalty not given to Mumbai City FC. Where is the answer, guys? It's, supposedly everything is being done for Mohun Bagan. What I always say is, hey, the referees are doing mistakes at all ends. When I criticize, and I criticized the other day, um, the Tom Alred foul on Arshdeep. Why? Because I have an affiliation towards Punjab FC. So that's the reality. Oscar Renault's media cards is literally rage baiting their fans, not ethical in my box. Yeah, blue, but that's what the new standard of East Bengal is, no? Carlos Quadrad used to do the same. He goes too much at international level for us, right? And the media, sadly, is not smart enough to understand it. The more Bengali talent is more systematic breakdown of sports in West Bengal. Hitesh, I think that East Bengal and Mohun Bagan and developing or giving final touches of development of Bengali talent has not been the case for a while for these two clubs, right? We like it or not, that's the reality. Yeah. And let's see. Lots of good goals getting scored in IFL, good for social media promotion. Yeah, there's some good goals, some crazy fights as well. Yeah, let's see. I'm a third generation East Bengal fan. As a good supporter, you have to criticize what is not right, just like you have to keep supporting even if you don't win anything in the next 50 years. Yeah. Uchut, that's why as a fan, your fan culture is much more mature, much better than the overall East Bengal fans. That's the reality. If AIFF don't do relegation after all these things happened against FSDL, that they aren't allowing relegation, etc., will the saviors come file case against the AIFF? Blue, you don't know when he's for or against this AIFF. So again, people are hand in glove in this thing. But Blue, if Morgan Sporting are 14th and are set to be relegated, that lobbying work will happen, right? That they should not be relegated. Period. I'm telling you this now. So everybody is just questioning this and that question to their clubs, but nobody's questioning the right questions. How many times he's been going on versus fan ask about quality football? Yeah, 100%. Zigzag, right? 100%. I used to work in Manjapara back then. Manjapara was treated the boy cooking like a crime. What's changed now? Aja, I don't know. I maybe other people are running it. Maybe their association to the club is different. Their association to these things of what is right, what is wrong. I think we are in a very polarized world today. Um, so therefore, it's very difficult to say what is right, what is wrong, why is this happening, why is that happening, because we are in a very difficult phase, very difficult phase, and I don't know where the answers lie. I couldn't tell you what the answers are, and um, I do get why Manjapara are in a sort of tricky situation, very tricky situation, right? But at the end of the day, the problem is if the club doesn't exist, what do you then support? That would be my question to you, right? Sorry. So yeah, certain people said we don't want Aman Hussein ISL in place to Mohun Sporting because Mohun Sporting legacy club developing youth unlike another club from using waste and wash players to win league. Yeah. Mohammedan Sporting is not developing talent. I mean, I was looking the other day, Mohammedan Sporting versus Odisha FC. I mean, it could have been a Mizoram Premier League game. So many Mizo players were playing at in both teams, right? So are they developing them? Are they giving the platform to the right players? No, Moment Sporting is playing with the players who they had or they were allowed to sign under all these restrictions that they have. Right? East Bengal, Bangalore FC and Mumbai City FC have done better in AFC compared to Mohun Bagan Super Giants. Yeah, even add Odisha FC and FC Goa to the list, Aman, right? So that's the reality. As sad as it might sound, but yeah, that's the and I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why Mohun Bagan have been so poor at continental level, right? Um, I wouldn't be able to give you an answer on that, right? So therefore, for me, it makes no sense why they have not been able to get the results, so to say. No, yeah. So for me, yeah, let's see where it goes. You got the news on 25th and 20th. Are you is going to play friendlies in Qatar? Yeah. Sami, again, teams are preparing for the AFC Under 17 Asian Cup, and teams are in Thailand, and therefore these short notice mostly closed door matches are being held so that coaches can test out things, right? So therefore, for me, don't get carried away by the results. The real competition will come, and then we'll see what the results are. Oscar blocking people here and there is not necessary at all. He's a coach. He don't need to have answers to everyone on social media. But Raj, we've now got this generation of coaches who want that cult followership on social media, who want the, support. They don't want the criticism, right? Even on Insta, I've heard that players are blocking people because whenever they play bad, they're getting gali, right? I guess you have to live with it, right? So therefore, it's. I know I fully understand. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable, and that's the reality, you know. And yeah, again, Oscar. I feel Oscar also gets involved in these things, especially when things are not running well. When things are running well, he's not bothering about it because people are saying good things about him, as with everybody else. That's the problem, right? 1 hour 22 plus minutes. Quick reminder: if you haven't, please do click on the thumbs up. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. 10 likes so far. Thank you very much for that. And if you haven't, if you're new to the channel, if you're liking our conversation, please do leave a leave a subscription. Sorry, 4,214 still is the number of subscriptions. Thank you very much, guys. We're slowly growing, and help this channel to move faster towards the 5,000 mark. I need your support. And quickly, before I get to Zigzag's next observations, let me quickly go through the starting lineups of Punjab FC and Inter Kashi, which are now public. Arshdeep Singh back continues to be in goal for Punjab FC. Then you have Lumding, Bijay Varghese, Paramveer, and Mohammad Uwais in defense. Ripki Shabong and Samir Selkovic are in defensive midfield. Osuji as well as Kipgen on the wings, Captain Danny Ramirez in the number 10 position, and Guzi Effiong up front for Punjab FC. And at the other end, we have Inter Kashi, who have today in goal, back Shondas out. Luis Tares back in goal, the Spanish keeper. In defense, Nishu Kumar, Narendra Gehlot, Nishchal Chandan, and Sandeep Mandi. In defensive midfield, Wayne Vas and Tomba Singh. Alfred Planas could join them as well. Asif Khan on one of the wings, Sergio Lamas as well, and Ashish Jha, most likely as the striker, or maybe Jha and Planas up front. We'll be interested to see what Senor Habas, Antonio Lopez Habas, has in, uh, so that's the thing. No, sir, in my opinion, now our first priority is just improving grassroots quality, improving quality of coaches. That should be our first priority. Otherwise, we left so behind from others, and fans should be mature and ask right questions to their clubs. Yeah, Zigzag, very well said. Very, very well said. That is the most important thing. Grassroots, youth football. As I said, if I look at RFDL, for example, RFDL as a competition is good. And to me, that's something which needs to be seen. And yeah, one has to see what happens. But I say grassroots, youth football, competitions, um, coaching, and scouting. Those are the five things you need to sort out. Honestly speaking, Kolkata journalists need to put out real news. I'm fed up to clickbait thumbnails and interviews of club officials talking unnecessary things against each other. Raj. But that's been the case for a while. For next match, Noshad will be coach for Northeastern FC. Should be. He's assistant or the Spanish assistant. I don't know which one of the two will be the official ones. Time was obviously also getting hate for just for political affiliation. You can don't just like the owners, but hating undermine the achievements isn't right. Blue, very right. Leave the owners aside. I League 3, I League 2, and now I League. They're winning fair and square, right? They've got the money, but they're winning fair and square. So political affiliation, you like it, I like it, we like it or not, that's not the question. AIFF clowns again lost the golden chance to play Asian Games. No, Utkarsh. What is the golden chance of playing Asian Games? Can someone please explain to me what is the golden chance of playing an unnecessary tournament like called the Asian Games, which has been unnecessary since the 50s? Can we please stop glorifying the most useless tournament in the world, which is the Asian Games football tournament? Right? This rubbish with Asian Games and Olympics has cost us playing FIFA World Cups and AFC Asian Cups. And we were never in. If you look at the government criteria, we don't qualify as a team to play Asian Games football. So rather than calling the AIFF clowns, which you can call them in other instances, rather question, sorry, Utkarsh, yourself for wanting us to play in the Asian Games. I said that 3 years ago. Look at my 3 years ago videos what I said about it. Only idiots would call us for us to call play Asian Games. Only idiots. Everyone is stupid, in my opinion. Stupid and useless who calls for Asian Games participation. Other nations said under 21s and under 20s. What happened last time? Oh, AIFF, please, government, please let us play. Okay, take it, kill him. But I want Sunil Chetri. I want Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. I want Sandesh Jingan. What's the use? There's no use of that. And that will happen again. It could happen. They could ask, oh, you know what? But get Sunil out of international retirement to play Asian Games. Some of the things I'm fed up. Rohit Dano, Aman not in the squad. Let's quickly go through the benches. Mohit Shabir, Likmabam Rakesh, Pablo Santos, Ninthoy, Vinit Rai, Bikash Singh, Ranjit Singh Pandre, and Leon Augustin. In Takashi has Mohit Singh Dhami, Shubham Das, Oritro Das, David Humanes, Jayesh Rane, Prabir Das, Prashant K, Nauris Petkevikios, as well as Sumit Pasi. So there is no Rohit Danu on the bench. No Rohit Danu. So it's also give them Salt Lake Stadium free. You could say also that she's helped them and Mohammed Sporting to play ISL. I can't say about past, but I don't know enough. But recently, Mohammed were not focused on content and sports at all. Let's be honest, only ISL matters. Imagine favorite players to do interviews. Blue, and strikers said better. Blue, Mohun Bagan has been a failure over the years at that continental level. It's not a new phenomenon. No? I remember, what was it? 8-0 thrashing Jubilee Ovata. And then they avoided hosting Jubilee Ovata. And Kolkata said, no, give us a fine. We won't host you. And also, do you think our juniors, sub-juniors, and U10 league have good competition for AFTL also? Because you see, unqualified team just get 10 games per season in AFTL also, sir. See, the quality is a question across under 13, under 15, under 18, and RFDL. And my question is, if I look at it again, I was looking at it that you've got 54 teams playing, right? Most of the 54 teams are playing 5 games in RFDL. 5 matches because they play at the local level. Why can't I strengthen my local level? And then if I've got teams at a certain level, I don't know, I split teams and And even those who are eliminated, get them games. 5 games is not going to be enough. It makes no sense. It has what? 5 games, a team for 5 games. So that's your problem. How are we giving exposure to players in a proper way? It's not happening. These, in my opinion, are basics. And yeah, we're struggling with that basics at the moment. By the way, sir, a broad question. Do you think the European only spend as much you earn system is right? Its gate keeps the small teams to compete and maintains the status quo domination of giants. Blue, if I want to um, implement that, um, and look at the Indian system, how much will they be spending? Right? I mean, if real um, spending was there, and you can control it, yes. That's why I've also said that ISL qualification needs to be under certain financial criteria if you can actually spend, which this again, and which has been undermined by political forces because Mohammedan Sporting was allowed to come in last year. Interkashi, Punjab FC have the financial clout to play ISL. Mohammedan Sporting doesn't, and it's showing at the moment. So therefore, yes, I think there needs to be a system. And look at England, where if you don't do it right, and you get relegated. Look at Leicester City with its financial penalties. Leicester City is on the verge of being relegated from the Championship to League One. 10 years, if you look back, so to say 10 years ago, they would have been Premier League champions. They played Champions League, and 10 years later, they're set to get relegated to League Two. Now, sir, this Asian Games and Olympics mindset cost us 1950 World Cup, in my opinion. Yeah, 100%. Zigzag. That is what you should blame the AIFF for the then AIFF. Yeah, Vasundhara, Kings with Oscar beat Mohun Bagan. I was surprised watching the match with Mohun with all the Aussies. Yeah, Raj, they did. Yeah. Western RFDL. I don't know. Yeah, half of the team is the ISL, not playing young players, but I don't know. Even BFC can't repeat that dream run of AFC Cup 2000. The gap has increased. Moria, the competition has been changed, right? If you look at the AFC Champions League 2, you have Al Nassr, for example, playing in it. Take the CR7 shebang out of it. Al Nassr is not an AFC Champions League 2 team or AFC Cup team, right? The competition is much tougher because you've made the AFC Champions League elite smaller, and yeah, very difficult. Our Kolkata clubs have failed to produce players, even a local Bengali player. Yeah, 100%. They buy a finished product normally, huh? I watched U18 ACA Elite League, found that better technical players are coming than current breed of players, but whereas on best Asian teams are still lacking far behind. Sammy, I hope that is true. But again, when I see that transition from that under 18 league to RFDL and then to senior level, that transition, you know, um, to me, that transition doesn't happen. If you're good at under 18 level, doesn't mean you will be good at senior level. And I'll tell you German examples. A lot of kids in Germany think at under 19 Bundesliga level. So that's the highest level you can play. Then you go through to the senior level and maybe not even go to the pro level of 1, 2, 3, Bundesliga, Bundesliga 2, Dritte Liga, whatever, Regionalliga. You go even to the 5th-tier Oberliga, 6th-tier Landesliga, or 7th-tier Bezirksliga. Some of these boys come out of these youth teams, play in the senior teams, and are not capable to compete. So that's the reality of things, if we like it or not. So yeah, that's the tough ask of the quality that you have, and then can you improve it? Because we've had teams at under 17 level, even club sides at under 17 level, is it? Yeah, some good players. But then a few years later, Makes no sense, right? Agreed on Asian Games and Olympics. These tournaments are used as if we only use senior players. Yeah, Rishikesh, we need to ideally. Would have suggested to the AIFF to go to the government of India and say, you know what? Let me send an under 21 team. That is exposure to those players, which could be useful in the future in the under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers. That makes, in my opinion, makes much more sense, strategic sense, right? So therefore, yeah, not again, it's not easy. I know that. I know it's complicated, but we need to find solutions which are in line with what we need in Indian football, right? That's the challenge, in my opinion. Sorry, that's the biggest challenge, right? Again, if we're not doing the things that are needed in our football system, things that are needed to take our football forward, then it won't happen, right? It is as simple as that. And therefore, for me, it is you know how do we do development? Who? And again, at youth level, then mostly look at teams. Um, with immediate success in mind. Yeah. So therefore, for me, yeah, youth level football is a big problem. Is transitioning from youth to senior football the most difficult part of football player career? Yeah, for most players it is. Because as a youth player, you normally play in your age group. You might be younger. You might be a little younger. But when you come in the men's game, you will play players who are 30, 32, 35. They have seen it, done it all. And even if you're faster and quicker, experience is something which you cannot buy. Either you have experience, you know what you need to do in those situations, or you don't, right? That is, yeah, another aspect of it. Then where you think we're lacking behind, if we had okayish type of players in age group, then why we failed to do transition of these players in senior squad? Sammy, one problem is age fraud, right? So supposedly players are under 16, under 13, under 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, right? Under. And the players are 2 years, 3 years, 5 years older. If you are not under 17, you actually are 20. The, those 3 years where you think that player will develop to the next level, it doesn't happen. Players then stagnate and then start to fall off. That's our problem. If you're saying that I want to give a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old a chance, and that guy is 19, 20, 21, that's probably is the period of development, the period of getting better. Most probably is gone. You've missed the bus. That is the sad part of all of this, right? So therefore, if I like it, you like it, we like it or not, these are some of the, I say, sort of brutal realities of things of where we stand. Yeah. So for me, if we're not, and therefore for me again, it has no value at under 13, under 15, under 18 level, what you win or what you don't. I always would say, the question is, how good are your players that you have in regard to um, in regard to getting them to professional level. Right? You can be the best team again. um, Under 17 World Cup, Nigeria, right? let me tell you how many times has Nigeria won the under 17 World Cup, right? I think they're record them or Ghana. I think them they are the uh, Nigeria 5 times champions, right? Nigeria have won it multiple times, but are they really that exceptional at senior level? No. Do they have an age fraud problem? Yes, they have an age fraud. Nigeria is not even at the World Cup. So therefore, those are realities, right? Nigeria is the most successful team at under 17 level, right? Brazil has 4 titles. Ghana has 2 titles. Mexico has 2 titles. Germany won. France won. Portugal won it last year. Russia has won it. Saudi Arabia has won it. Switzerland has won it. England has won it. England won it in India, 2017, right? So, yeah, these are some of the realities. What is the history of Germany for each academy? Each they make it to Division 1, 2. I don't have, Moria, I don't have any of those numbers. I think that number is, I wouldn't even know if those numbers exist. I don't think I have it. See, the point is, you say that if you can get a player through your system every year, one player through your system into your first team, that's regarded as success. If you've got more, great, right? Why are teams like Barca, Ajax, the Portuguese clubs, yeah, with Sporting, Benfica, Porto, even at the moment, let's say Bayern Munich, so successful? Because they are able to bring through players, right? Yeah. Do you remember that Jamshedpur FC player, sorry, Gaurav Mukhi, yeah, who was on player, he says, but already found. I mean, the the joke was in the end that he supposedly was 16 years old. You looked at his face and thought, "Bhai, you are the father of the 16-year-old," and I think he turned out to be 28 or something, right? And you know, I jokingly said to some people, I said 1 or 2 years is given in the system, right? 1 or 2 years older is normal, right? But 12 years, it's not even a joke. And it made an embarrassing global PR story that the guy who was supposedly youngest goal scorer turned out to be the biggest age fraud that India has ever seen at top level. 12 years. So, yeah, realities, brutal realities of Indian football. And I was why are these big money clubs not hiring better youth coaches, let's say, not from India, but from Europe, from Germany, and many more? They're still stuck in the old age. Zigzag, because they're not willing to spend that much of money on good coaches at youth level. If, let's say, I am at an ISL team, XYZ, doesn't matter which club it is. My owner has enough money. And he says to me, Arunava, I need to win the ISL title this season. I said, okay. What do you want to do for the long-term development of the club? Are we going to build infrastructure? Are we going to be able to have a residential academy? Are we going to bring in foreign technical expertise? The owner says, no, my focus is, or if the owner is smart, he'll ask, okay, if I'm going to invest into that, how long will it take to get results? Then I would have to tell him, sir, results, what, 10 years, 15? If it takes evolutions, maybe 20, 30 years to get players out of your own grassroots youth football system, right? So these are some of the realities, if I like them or not, which I have to consider that they are there. Yeah. So for me, the challenge here is how do we get results given these circumstances that owners actually are looking at things not at uh, I want to do it properly in the long run. Yeah. So therefore, for me, it's uh, a very difficult thing to go and ask an owner and say, what do you want to do, right? So it's very difficult. I think very, very difficult. And Yeah, and where you're going to come out of it or not, that's the challenge, right? So yeah, let's wait and see. It's like, for example, what we built, grassroots and youth football at Mumbai City. You know, Asif Khan and Intakashi, most probably your first proper product of that long-term system that Mumbai City created in 2014. But there needs to be more and needs to be better players in the long run. That's the challenge for Mumbai City. Funnest part of Indian football is that since last 2 decades, association individual clowning the show. Yeah, Rishikesh, 100%. That's why this short-term effect, long-term, nothing. That England U17 or one U17 held in India 2017 was good team. 5, 6 players made it to senior team. Solid batch. Moria, excellent. I mean, you saw some of the players yesterday. I mean, if I look at 2017, U17, let me just go to the England squad. Uh, right. It was a top class squad. Right. So if and it's they didn't win it. They didn't win the championship by chance. They were just the best team in the tournament, right? So for me, 1 second, I'm just looking for England. It's a it was a challenge, right? So England, right? I'm going through this other pivot. Mark Gahey, right? Who's now with Man City. Phil Foden, of course. Jadon Sancho, of course, was at that time already with Borussia Dortmund. Callum Hudson-Odoi plays Premier League. Emil Smith-Rowe, Morgan Gibbs-White, Conor Gallagher. Not a bad team, right? Not a bad team. But yeah, Ryan Brewster was very successful in that tournament. Angel Gomez, even though, okay, he's at Olympic Lyon. Some of them have made it, right? So yeah, that's the reality. I know, can we see any mini VR or any type of video assistant or refer from next season, considering from next season will be bright of some new commercial. See, Sammy, all of this is a cost, right? So the first question is who's going to pay for it, right? Everyone is trying to cut down on their losses. Commercial, it's nice. Commercial partner coming in is, but your commercial partner now is going to invest less than what your old commercial partner put into the system. We should not forget that fact, right? Reliance put in money, which is not going to be in the system now. Reality. So therefore, for me, um, mini VR, I don't think so because we also have X number of venues, right? So if you want to do even a mini VR, it has to be across. You have to have the technical people to operate it. You need the referees to be trained. So even to train a referee will most probably take 3 to 6 months to be a VR ref. Is that being done at the moment? No. So as much as and you are talking about VR, and I've said this today in Europe, we're already having the question of should VR stay or go? In Norway, they've already removed VR from the Eliteserien, right? Premier League every week they're having that discussion in Germany as well. Look at the Champions League, right? Real Madrid talks about the Kamavinga double booking. Why isn't anyone talking about that the VR didn't step in when Antonio Rudiger literally bodied Josip Stanisic and most probably should have been sent off, but the goal stood. So VR, if you think that VR, and I said this today and I've said this multiple times, if you think that VR will be the savior of Indian football, it is not. We're just going to have a shift of discussion because there are situations where you will say, oh, you know what, it's a foul, where I will say, oh, no, no, it's not enough. It wasn't a foul. And the third person say, yeah, it could have been a foul, might not have been a foul. As long as you have this possibility of a discussion on a topic, that there is no clear cut yes or no, there is no answer to it. That is the danger, you know. So therefore, That's the problem. I don't know, also don't understand me wrong, but clubs are equally responsible for this current situation of Indian football. There wasn't spent in infra, best youth setup and best coaches in youths. And now, yeah, they're just suffering in Indian football now. Zigzag, I totally agree. If anyone is saying that the blame only stands with the AIFF, then that person doesn't understand the realities. The blame for the situation has to be taken by everybody in the system, right? Uh, so therefore, and that's a reality. The fault of the failure of the Indian football ecosystem lies with all stakeholders. All. It even lies with you and with me. We're part of the ecosystem. So therefore, um, you know, so that's the reality. So there's no interesting, no easy answer. Mumbai City could have worked much better with the academy. You had Mumbai senior divisions, hubs like Kolhapur. What happens to Mumbai B team players who play in state league? What do you mean they could have worked? Mumbai City plays in the Mumbai Football League, Moria. The under 19s and under 17s play in the Mumbai Football League system. And what about Kolhapur? What does Mumbai have to do with Kolhapur? Kolhapur, yes, people are coming. What's the standard in Kolhapur? Is it good? Get that reality out of the system. Is Mumbai City doing it perfect? Of course not. But given the realities of a city like Mumbai, which is it's amongst the toughest ecosystems that you can work in, because you're not supported in football. I think, yeah, those guys have done okay. The others who get support locally from the municipality, from the state governments, they need to be asked more. What's the talent that you're producing? Hey, Arman, sir, clubs are not doing justice with their academies. Only I said clubs are serious is Punjab, is and Northeastern interested developing total developing talent. I mean, I don't know why you're saying that Punjab and Northeast are doing good. Where's the outcome? Right? If you're saying that the clubs are not serious, then I have to then tell you sorry. Then if you're saying that all the clubs are not serious, then Punjab and Northeast also join that band. There is no one doing it seriously. They're saying it and trying it, but where is the quality production line to say that you're producing in the next generation better players? We are hyping players from Northeast and from Punjab FC, right? They're hyping, but they're not quality, right? Yes, I also responsible for the situation because as a fan, I never ask right questions to the authorities. Zigzag, thank you very much for you saying that. That is exactly, I think, the biggest point of all, that the Indian football fan has not asked the right pertinent questions, you know, you know, and so for me, that is what we need to do. That's why I also say the fans of clubs need to question their clubs. Need to, don't blindly support your club. East Bengal, we've spoken about. Kerala Blasters, good example. The walk-off. You supported Ivan Vukovanomic on the whole thing, and then later on, you know what? The club turned on him. Adrian Luna said, you know what? I should have put my foot out and said, the decision actually was right. Sunil was smart. That's the reality. In other sports like cricket and hockey, they also use VR like system. Where is it highly praised? So in football, why is it remains problematic? Rishikesh, football is a different sport. You mentioned cricket. Cricket is a standing sport, so the comparison doesn't work. Hockey is a fast sport, but look at hockey, ice hockey, American football, rugby. It's working. Football is a different game and has its own issues, and it's not being properly implemented. I think that's the biggest challenge for football when it comes to VR. You know, and that's the problem, right? So yeah, that's the reality. I have a personal question for you. Why don't you associate with any asset club administrative part as you have done earlier with Mumbai City FC and Punjab FC? Can we see you in future again stepping in? Sammy, at the moment, I it's I don't apply for roles. If there is someone who wants my expertise and knowledge, the people know me, I wouldn't say no. Yeah, I would consider it in discussion, and maybe if it works out, why not? Right. I also say that earlier this year I was discussing with the AIFF and with the clubs in regard to being maybe league commissioner. That was also a discussion. But again, maybe that critical thinking, going into introspection, being accountable is something that these people don't want. That should be the question asked everyone. Another issue with ISL, we're wasting ISL spots on cringe wash players like Pritam Kotal, Shatak Gular, Pranal. That club should rather get young talent over getting this washed experienced players. Where is your young talent? Arman, and I know the Pritham and Pronoy, I know since the Indian Arrow days under Colm Toll. Name me the players who are better. If one player was chosen by a coach, okay, take it. We can have say, okay, the coach has a favorite of this, you know, uh, you know, um, that'd be fine. Why are coaches across the board banking on these experienced ISL players rather than picking up those so-called young talent? It doesn't exist. Arman, wake up to that reality, right? If XYZ player was so talented, then the coaches would be using them left, right, and center. Why are they not using them? Because the clubs don't believe that the players are so talented, the so called young talent, which you get, washed experienced players. The experienced players are the ones who are keeping this league alive, if you like it or not. I saw videos of fans from a certain club mocking ground staff for using buckets to water from pitch. Raj, what are you going to do? Right? Without destroying the ground, bucket is most probably, yeah, the most likely element which can save it. And now, sir, just realize what is going on in this Indian football system. But before, just 1 year ago, I was also in the illusion that our players are best, but now I realized as Mumbai City FC fan. It's exactly, sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes it's hard, it will hit you, and you will think, oh my God, this, that, those realities. Sadly, the realities um, are a problem. And the realities are not nice for you and for me. The realities are sometimes brutal, and maybe you will not want to accept it. Sometimes you will not want to believe in it. And to me, yeah. So yeah, it's sad, but that's the reality of Indian football. Uh, so let's see. FC Madras have good infrastructure, youth teams, but they don't have senior team. Chennai State League. Where is the battle for this? Have any idea? Moria, their focus, and let's see, FC Madras have good infrastructure. Their youth teams, they're still in the early phase. So let's see what the outcome is. Right. So for me, the question here is how good are the players that they bring out? And they don't have a senior team because they realize if you're going to spend X on your youth team or youth setup, you have to exponentially spend more on your first team. So realities. So they for themselves have decided not to invest into um, a first team for now. Pathways, listen, if the players are good, the teams in the ISL and the I League will snap those players up. That's his kickoff in Delhi. As yeah, I'll do a few minutes and then I'll have to leave as well for the day. Good discussion, guys. Today, I really enjoyed this. Um, that we spoke about so many things in regard to um, Indian football, the issues which I think are very very crucial that we talk about them. That's why I say, help me grow the channel. Let's have these honest conversations, which you'll have nowhere else. Nowhere else, because yeah, what is the biggest problem? Lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge is our biggest problem in Indian football, and that will be a challenge for us. And very interesting to see how we get out of this scenario, and therefore very very important. And now, sir, everyone is just said infrastructure is no, sir. So I just convert the grass of our athletics stadium in a with artificial turf, and that looks great. Yeah, it's exactly the question. It looks great. Will they maintain it? Will they be able to maintain it? That's my first question. And will they be able to run with it? Right. So therefore, these are some of the interesting questions that one has, and it'll be interesting to see if they can maintain it. Brilliant. If they can't, then it becomes an issue. Then it becomes a huge issue, because then the conversations are, why is this not happening? Why is that not happening? Why are we not doing the right things? So for me, yeah, that's one of those challenges that I see for Indian football going forward. Yeah, so let's see. And now Multiplier is converting the grass to artificial, so that not the question, but the question is only quality. It's quality and maintenance. See, you can turn grass into artificial turf, and that could be easier theoretically to maintain, less water, this and that. And so therefore, you know, it's always a question. How do you keep? I mean, Salt Lake Stadium, good example, right? Wasn't properly maintained, and then became an issue, and then they removed the artificial turf. Crystal John and Venkatesh, is it the worst in referees, and fans should go to their face and question their stupid decisions? Arman, worst referees or not, there should be a little bit of respect from a human perspective. You should bring up, right? And to me, I don't know. I've never thought who's the worst referee, XYZ. You know, we've had a referee problem over the years. I thought, actually, if I think about 10, 12 years back, I thought the refereeing was even worse. But a lot of people weren't around in the early days of the ISL. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the worst, and you can question their decisions. And oops, Salah, Daniel Ramirez into the arms of Luis Tares. Yeah, the Ramirez just needs to plays the ball. So for me, that's the most important thing, that we need to be clear. Where are we going? How are we going? What we're doing? And again, have respectful discussions. I think that's being lost, right? Because this sort of this some of this hooliganism mentality, it's not going to take us forward, right? Asking questions, even being respectful without being abusive, that's the best, right? I tried to interact with people in the past on social media, which I sometimes don't, because it's just too tiring. When you realize that people will anyway say what they think, and they will not agree to your position even if you're right, what's the point of having a discussion and argument? It's a waste of time. No, that is where we need to be able to have honest discussions on where Indian football stands, on where Indian football's problems are, and how can we make things better. That is, to me, the only way Indian football will improve in the next years. Too many problems, too many issues, right? To me, that is something which, yeah, we need sorting. No easy solution, no easy answer, but we need to work on things, right? And if you guys don't have any more questions, observations, um, points to make, I'll slowly come to the end of this live, of this Indian football and more discussion. Thanks for joining in. I thank all of you for some very, very good points today. Some very interesting, insightful things that we spoke about. And yeah, maybe some realities I spoke about, presented, um, because of the realities of where we stand. And it isn't easy. Indian football, uh, you know, so let's see. So the question is, where do we go? And I take Arman's comment. So there are fans who are leaving Indian football. Even the loyal ISL fans have no interest in. Even I might consider the same a fraud guy. Jones, President Genius is Ashok Kumar. So my question to Arman, what is the problem of Genius Sports? My simple question to us. What is the problem with Genius Sports? Right? People are calling them a betting company. No, they're a data aggregating company who supply information to betting companies. So if you can't define what it is, right? Is fan code in a position to commercialize Indian football rights? Right? Um, you know, are the clubs right? I don't know. I don't think so. On this one, I don't think they're right. But they don't want to say that they're not right. So therefore, for me, again, also, Arman, think about the positions. Think about where are you getting your infos and who's saying what and how. Right? Is fan code better than Genius or is Genius better than fan code? Right? Looking at the figures. Just as the figures. Not at what do they do, does A do, what does B do? And that should be then the answer uh, to that query, to that question, which I find very difficult. And again, to all of you, those of you who still haven't watched, I did that video yesterday on AIFF versus ISL clubs. And to me, that's the question. The ISL clubs have not taken care of their own interests. They have not been able to create that what is needed. And with that, I'll like to end this live once more. Like, share, subscribe to Arunfoot. Let's grow the community. Let's do what we can for Indian football, and you know, and so that's let's see. And again, let me. I mean, was issue with Genius is huge possibility of match. How is Genius match fixing? How does that work? How does that work? I mean, how do you make this? You know, they're a data aggregator, match data aggregator in multiple sports, different sports across football. So you're going to tell me that Genius Sports fixes matches in the Premier League, Champions League, La Liga, Bundesliga, you know, and you know, and the revenue part is a problem for Genius and as well for Fancode, right? Because the numbers don't add up. The reality is Reliance, the 50 crores flat payment to the AFF, that's gone, right? So the AFF will have a shortfall, right? We're not even getting close to the 50. The clubs are getting something out of the central pool, which has gotten less. Now, the clubs need to think about putting in money to run the league. So therefore, I don't know where your 100 crore revenue number comes from. Very generic number to me. Because actually, to make this work, forget Genius, forget even fan code. For any commercial partner who doesn't guarantee you a figure X for the AFF, a figure Y for the ISL clubs, and a figure Z for the production, for the running of the league, it's not going to work. So, Arman, if you want someone to put in money to make this work the way that we want and need the ISL, to me, it is 200 crores. A commercial partner would have to give you 200 crores. No commercial partner in the world at this moment in time will be anything close to raising 200 crores. Forget 20 crores even. Reality. So the numbers, Genius and fan code, both don't work. The Genius deal favors the AFF. The fan code deal favors the clubs a little bit more. That's why both sides are looking at it. But both are loss-making models. That should be the real conversation, which nobody's having. Right? And yeah, with that, sort of four, as far as I know, four cards you are suspended, and it's still 0-0 after 11 minutes, but chances here and there at both ends. Thanks again for joining in. Indian football and more discussion again. I'm back on Wednesday night at my usual time, and hopefully then we can have another conversation on Indian football. And please like, please share, subscribe. Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, visit arunfoot.com. I'll be back, as I said, on Wednesday with another live. And do watch my short videos, and I'll catch you then. Bye for now.